but it's actually benefited me, it's benefiting them. And then they're inviting me like, hey, do you want to come speak at this conference? So it's opening doors in a different way. And I'm reimagining the way I'm doing even the self-coach lawyer.
All right, so welcome to the You Are a Lawyer podcast, Whitney Harvey. And I must say, this is not a rewind episode if you guys are familiar with her name. I am talking to Whitney again because she has done so many amazing things since the last time we recorded that we just had to update you about all the stuff, okay? So, Whitney, will you tell the audience what you're doing right now?
Yeah, thank you, Kyla. It's good to be back. I am still on this journey of entrepreneurship, and I recently started another business while I'm doing self-coach lawyer. And this is really for community visionaries, advocates, really helping them to tap into their purpose and repurpose their current careers. So kind of like how we're talking about you are a lawyer, and I'm doing that and bringing that sort of messaging beyond the law to other people, other industries.
Okay. So, what made you decide to branch out to other industries? Like, I know you love lawyers, you really enjoyed being a lawyer. What made you decide to kind of open it up to everybody?
Yeah, I think that what I realized on the self-coach lawyer is that so many people were resonating with the messaging of burnout, well-being, finding your purpose, having like a spiritual or mindfulness component to your profession. So many people were following me that were not even lawyers. And I was just thinking, okay, this is really resonating with them. So it's not really just the audience, it's the message, right? And I feel like so many professions and industries are going through change and reevaluating norms and values. And the self-coach lawyer is just one avenue of bringing that and realizing that it's an impact beyond even just the work we're doing in the legal profession, but the work we're doing in the world as visionaries, as change agents, really is what opened me up to exploring. So it's really exciting. And of course, lawyers are near and dear to me, but it's just all interconnected, all of this work.
Yeah, it truly is. In fact, since the last time we spoke, I actually added a little subtitle to the podcast name. Now it's You Are a Lawyer, Take Risk and Change Careers in Law. Because I noticed that's what we were talking about. Everybody I talked to, I was like, what's the risk you've taken? How have you changed your career? What's the risk you've taken? How have you changed your career? And I was like, you know what? Let me just make it easier for people who are looking for things about taking risk and changing careers by just including it. But Whitney, I don't mean to gloss over the fact that you have expanded out your business because this is a really big deal, right? The last time we talked, we were all about how difficult it is for lawyers to change. And it sounds like you are comfortable with changing and pivoting whenever it's needed. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I feel like that is part of my messaging, like almost what you were saying of realizing that it was okay to take risk. And that was the messaging you had for You Are a Lawyer, even if it wasn't consciously that you were aware of it. I feel like pivoting and, redefining has been my messaging without me realizing it. And so I look back to what I was doing practicing as a lawyer, working for other people. I was switching work environments. I was trying different practice areas. I was working with different organizations, constantly pivoting. I was switching sides from defense to plaintiffs, right? Now in entrepreneurship, doing coaching, doing consulting, I'm doing that with the legal field, and I'm realizing the feedback I'm getting is that a lot of the organizations I wanted to work with didn't really need coaching at that moment. What they needed was legal help. They needed help. And it had me step back a few steps and realize this is a way to get into these organizations when they're ready for coaching. It's another stream of income for me to do some contract legal work where it's aligned and makes sense and doesn't take away from my business and my vision. So I started doing contract legal work with a select few legal organizations. So talk about a pivot. Like that wasn't the plan, but it's actually benefited me. It's benefiting them. And then they're inviting me like, hey, do you want to come speak at this conference? So it's opening doors in a different way. And I'm reimagining the way I'm doing even the self-coach lawyer. So it's constantly pivoting, constantly assessing the feedback, and as an entrepreneur, not giving up in that moment and saying, oh, I made the wrong decision or it's not working out, but saying, as visionaries, we really are that. And giving things time, giving it time for our visions to come to life and not just giving up when we're not seeing the immediate feedback that we're looking for.
You've said a word, because resilience, I think my word of this year is resilience. It wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be abundantly. Not even abundance, but abundantly. Everything I do abundantly. And it's turning into resilience. And I'm like, okay, is this opposite year? Like, this was not what I was expecting. But what I enjoy about what you said is that even though your program is called the Self Coach Lawyer and you were helping lawyers figure out how they can make pivots or changes, you really enjoy practicing law. So I love that even though you wanted to do mentorship and show people what else they could do, places are like, oh, yeah, but you're a great lawyer, though. Come and teach us about that, too. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was kind of like a little hidden pocket, like a little surprise that you kind of stumbled into.
Exactly. And I honestly, Kyla, I do think I needed to take that pause and break away from legal practice. I needed that year and a half to gather my thoughts, to heal from some past experiences, to really tap into my creativity and to like make connections like you, like other people that had paved the way, were doing something different in the practice of law or in the profession of law. And so I really regulated my nervous system during that time. I got grounded, and when I did come back into doing some practice and getting back into the practice, I was a different person almost. I did approach the law very differently. I can leave the work where it is. I don't go to sleep, staying up late at night worried about a particular case because, of course, I'm going to give it my all and do 100%. But I'm working for myself. I'm helping other organizations, but I'm not carrying the weight of the work anymore. So it has been very liberating and very freeing. And yeah, just seeing what's going to come from it. Next year, we might be doing this again and I have a whole nother story.
And I would love it. You're welcome back at any time. So, Whitney, I have been following you on social media for a while, but I noticed you were posting a whole bunch of stuff about powerhouse women. And I'm like, okay, sounds like everything else, boss girls, boss ladies, you know what I mean? I was like, I've seen all these groups, but I haven't, right? The energy is very different. The messaging is very straight to the point. It's not la-di-da, let's go. It's like, hey, this is your business. You're going to work today or not. And I'm just like, okay, it's very straightforward. How did you get connected with that organization? And you even went to their conference last year.
Yes. That organization, the Powerhouse Women Group, has been so expansive for me as an entrepreneur. I'm fortunate to know the founder, Lindsay Schwartz. She's a good friend of mine. We were in a writing group together trying to write trying to write books. She actually finished her book, The Powerhouse Woman. I didn't finish. This was back in 2016 when I was still a litigator, so I didn't finish my book. But we became close friends, and I watched her. I went to the very first conference in, I believe, 2017. And just to see where it started and where it's expanded to, it's all about helping women, either current entrepreneurs or you want to dip your toe into it, just knowing that you're meant for more and that you also, though, want to monetize your passion because you can go broke trying to save the world. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us have big hearts and want to foster change, but we need the systems of how do we do this? How do we monetize? How do we sustain ourselves as entrepreneurs? And so I got reconnected to the community actually the summer before last, August of 2022. I showed up as a volunteer to the event, helped serve my friend, and was thinking that I would start my business in 3 or 4 years, and came out of it with the idea of the self-coach lawyer. So I've been coming back, staying connected to the group. I spoke on a panel at the conference last year, and I've just stayed connected. There's so many powerful entrepreneurs in the building, lawyers, everyone, like it spans all different industries, and it's been great connections for me on my journey.
Yes, I can't believe, or not, I can't believe, I'm so excited that that group got you to actually start the Self-Coach Lawyer, because we didn't even discuss them in our last call. So
Yeah.
this is making even the first episode deeper. Yeah. As is what happens in life, right? Usually one thing will kind of spark your interest, and then another thing is like, are you going to go deeper or not? And then you keep getting all these confirmations. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, on this podcast, I've talked to, it's got to be more than 20 coaches, life coaches, executive coaches, all of it. And I saw the value and I could hear it from the guests. But it wasn't until I paid for my first coach where I was like, why didn't I do this years ago? What have I been missing? Is that, along with the fact that you know the founder, kind of what got you inspired with going back to Powerhouse Women and kind of seeing what else was out there?
Yeah, I think for me, I recognized, yes, I had this legal background, but if I really want to go into entrepreneurship, I'm first generation. I don't have any entrepreneurs in my family. I've not really seen a business be built from the ground up. And because of my own personal development, I had enough humility to say, I know I can't bring this business to life by myself. I need some structure. As lawyers, like I'm used to having structure. And so I knew that if I was going to start a business, I needed accountability. And my friend, I had been watching her on social media, watching her build, seeing her weather the storm through the pandemic, seeing her continue to grow through the pandemic. And I thought, there's all these business coaches you can Google and find, but let me go with the person I trust. I've seen her go through it. She's responsible with people's time, with their resources. She treats them kindly. She's the same person that I knew back in 2016 now, even though she's had immense growth. And I just respect her word and her value. And I know she's going to work and give 100%. So I said, okay, her offer was 6-figure school, which was really getting you the systems in place for how to reach 6 figures in your business. And I said, okay, I'm going to start with that. Like, I don't know anybody else's offers, but I know her and I trust her and I invested in it. And it was such a great decision that I needed. I needed that structure, and I can even go back and take the lessons over and over again at different facets and places in my business. So it's an online course that was self-paced and just really made a lot of sense for that accountability and that one-on-one coaching as well.
Yeah. So you get connected, you get inspired, continue to be motivated, you start your business even faster than you were anticipating. And I mentioned that because one of the clips that we had that became very popular was you and I discussing our hair, and how when we were working in traditional big law firms, we were either uncomfortable showing our hair or uncomfortable changing as often as we did. How has that freedom changed as a business owner, as a multiple, as the owner of multiple businesses, as a serial entrepreneur? How has that changed since the last time that we spoke?
Oh my goodness. I just feel so liberated in entrepreneurship. It's been such a gift that even when I go back into more corporate or formal spaces or law firms, I still bring myself and I lead with that. So I might be in some combat boots or, some skinny jeans and a blazer, but I feel so empowered in doing it because not only because I work for myself, but because feeling comfortable in owning my authenticity. And people know that of me now. So when they reach out to me, that's part of the package, right? So it's like if I were to show up any differently, that's out of alignment with my brand because now people that have been following, growing on the journey with me, they expect authenticity. So I bring that even within the work environment, even within speaking engagements, even within presentations within law firms. So my hair changes all the time based on how I'm feeling and the transformation I want to bring about. But my clothing is too. My clothing is changing in these environments, and I'm feeling empowered to do that. And it's being embraced because of how I'm standing in my truth.
And other people are recognizing it since the last time we spoke. And I know you guys are like, we get it, you talked again. But no, you really should go back and listen to that initial episode from May 2023, because a lot can change in a year. A lot has changed in a year, okay? You've actually been recognized by the Phoenix Business Journal as one of their top 40 under 40. What was that like? You're like, I've stepped into my own, I'm embracing myself, and now others are, they're recognizing the freedom, they're recognizing the confidence that I have.
Yeah, it was completely unexpected. I actually, funny story, a mentor of mine encouraged me to self nominate. And she said, "Hey, you can enter your own nomination for 40 under 40." And I said, "I didn't know that." She said, "Do it. Take some time, do it. Just as an exercise. Don't be attached to it." Mind you, she could have nominated me, but she felt that it was necessary for me to do this on my own and to nominate myself. So I did that. I took my time. I submitted it the day it was due, but I took my time throughout the day, taking breaks, coming back to it, doing my answers of why I thought I should be considered for this recognition, submitted it, and went about my life. And several weeks later, I get the email saying, "Congratulations, you've been accepted as a nominee, or you've been accepted as a recipient of this award." And I'm like, wow, okay. Like it was such an a beautiful surprise. And all I can say is I tell everybody,
Yeah.
self-nominate, self-promote, of course, self-coach initially. And it's because we have to be in charge of our own destiny. And sometimes we're waiting for that validation from other people. And we are already equipped, we're already ready to go. And I think these little exercises like this of me nominating, thinking it's going nowhere, actually did go somewhere. And so in that process, I learned to go back, look at my achievements, look at my accomplishments, speak about myself, about the accolades, heighten my visibility. I did all these confidence boosting things in the exercise and then ended up getting the recognition. So I just encourage everybody to do it. Even if the outcome is
Yeah.
different, you will feel greater confidence in yourself, in your vision, and in your impact.
And I recently read something about people nominating themselves. I think it was like something on like social media, and it was like, hey, you can nominate yourself. And that blew my mind because I was like, wait, all these award winning podcasts nominated themselves, right? If it was looked down upon or less celebrated, they wouldn't have the option. They could easily have it be where you can only be nominated for these things. And I'm like, wow, do you think Will Smith would nominate himself for Best Actor? I bet he would. So why wouldn't you do that for your own stuff, right? We have to grow and stretch to the place where we're able to say, I bet my content, I bet my business, I bet my experiences are so great that someone will recognize them. And you know what? If they do, icing on the cake. The fact that you have the experiences, you have the knowledge, you have all of it, that's the cake, right? You already have it, but you have to see it. And it does help to get these little pats on the back. You're like, I knew it. I'm glad you guys saw it.
Exactly. And I showed up to the award ceremony. I sponsored myself for the business. Some people were with corporations and companies that could sponsor for them. I had to invest into that for myself. All of these lessons learned right as I'm building as a startup, but I felt like it was necessary for me to show up and feel that recognition in the way I wanted to feel it, even if I had to invest into it myself. And it was extremely like one of the best days of my entire life, especially of 2023, was that entire day showing up
Yeah.
myself, being on the stage, dancing a little bit as I'm getting the award, like just making it my own. People laughing in the crowd, like it was me really being me, and so it was just such a great day and a great
Mhm.
experience.
Yeah. I'm excited that you had that experience because I love the fact that you sponsored yourself because you know what? I'm sure that's listed in the program and it's in all kinds of houses all over Phoenix. And people are going to look at it again and be like, who's that? Wait, let me Google them. You have no idea what the impact of that could be. So that's powerful.
Yeah, thank you. No, you're so right. It's the daily action, it's the daily things, it's the weekly things, the monthly things that accumulate, right? We don't know in 5 or 10 years where that's going to take things, but it's just trusting, taking the next step. That's all we got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Whitney, my very last question to you. Typically, I ask, what would you say to young lawyers about what they can do with their legal degrees? But I'm going to change it. I'm going to say, what would you say to anyone with a career about what they can do in terms of career pivots or changes?
Yeah. I would say that you really can craft your ideal profession. And it sounds like, how do you do that? But it's looking at the parts of what you've done that you do enjoy, keeping that. So you can keep that on your plate. And then you can innovate. You can explore and do something that's never been done. And that's what's unique to you. Whatever those ideas are, those interests you are, that whether you've seen someone else do it or not, or you have your spin on it, that's what you're supposed to tap into. And so I think there's a lot of fear, people thinking it's either or, like either you work for a company or you work on your own. And I'm seeing people do some work part-time for someone else, maybe teach at a college or a university, and then maybe they're doing some speaking engagements, and then maybe they're doing some coaching and consulting. Like, you can really create what it is that you want to create, and don't quit your day job just yet. Don't quit your profession just yet. Just explore and give yourself that freedom.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Whitney, for sharing with everyone today. And again, I'm going to plug that this is a second conversation with Whitney Harvey. She has grown and changed and expanded her business since the first time that we recorded in May 2023. Okay, so I'll make sure I tag that prior interview and the prior episode so that you can complete this one, listen to the last one, and look at all the growth, right? And know that it doesn't just have to happen for myself and for Whitney. If you're interested in the change, interested in stretching, you can do that too. All right? So thank you so much, Whitney. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Kyla. I appreciate you.